Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing the battery performance on my brand new Huawei P10 Plus. Now before we do that, let's tap into settings and have a look and see which version of Android this phone is running. So about phone right at the end, and then we can see it's running Android Nougat 7.0 along with EMUI version 5.1, which is the latest available on Huawei flagship phones. Also, we have the latest high silicon Kirin 960, the same chipset used in Mate 9 as well, here in the P10 Plus as well. This has got 6 gigs of RAM along with 128 gigs of total internal storage. We have a 5.5 inch 2K screen, a very powerful screen, and we have the total battery size of the phone at 3750 milliamp. So it'll be interesting to see how the phone has performed in the last about week or so ever since I had it. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly get started. So let's get into gallery and have a look and see what I've been collecting for the past about week or so ever since I had the phone. So first of all, let's have a look at the first screenshot. There you go, guys. Battery was down to 58%, as you can see, normal regular use like I always do, Instagram, YouTube, social media, bits and bobs. And eventually you can see here the screen was consuming 56.49%, which is a bit high to my liking, because normally you see that figure around 20%, 30% on a normal Quad HD screen phone, but it was a bit more than usual, which is a bit surprising. Anyways, so use the phone for phone calls and stuff and other bits and bobs, and eventually I was able to achieve 2 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time with battery down to 58%. Further down here, I was testing the standby times on the 8th of April Saturday, 0054, just before 1 o'clock in the morning. I took a screenshot with battery at 58%. Eventually, I took another screenshot at 1154 the following morning, just before midday. Battery was down to 48%. So it had lost, in approximately 12 hours, it lost 10% of battery life, which is about average, I would say, but maybe a bit below average, because an Android phone running Nougat 7.0 with doors kicking at the back, you expect a bit better performance. Later in the video you will see the standby times did vary, which I will show you. Okay, further down, battery down to 5%, same use from before, and eventually I was able to achieve a total screen on time of 5 hours and 18 minutes, and that was the total usage of 11 hours and 33 minutes of phone running on battery after 100%. So I was able to achieve, like I said, 5 hours and 18 minutes of screen on time, and this was mostly on Wi-Fi. I did use 4G occasionally here and there, but around 98% of the times I was using Wi-Fi, as it shows in the screenshot. Okay, here supercharging. Now lots of people ask me about supercharging. As we know, the adapter that comes with the P10 Plus has got supercharge, and it's a fast charger, so I really wanted to see how quickly it would charge the phone, and the results were pretty interesting. So let's have a look here. First of all, here as you can see, at 4% I put the phone on charge. It says supercharging. I love this animation, by the way. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, you can go and watch that video where when you plug in, the bubbles start to go and touch the big bubble, and it's really lovely to look at. Anyways, so battery down to 4%. That's what I put my phone on charge at 15:39. Like I said, battery at 4%. Eventually it was up to 53% at around 16:17. So in just above half an hour, it was able to go from 4% to 53%. So Huawei's claim of getting the battery getting up to 50% in half an hour is pretty much spot on. Okay, and then at 17:19 the battery went all the way up to 96%, which is again not looking too bad. So 15:39 and then 17:19. So as you can see, just under 2 hours. And something I've noticed, once the phone's battery goes past 95-96%, it really slows down in charging. I mean, it slows down considerably well. I'll show you in the next screenshot. If you look at now, 96% at 17:19, and then at 17:29, nearly after 10 minutes, the battery went from 96% to 97%. So in 10 minutes, it was only able to charge it up to 1%. And this happens once you have the battery past 95% mark. So it really slows down. I mean, it's supposed to work like that. That's how fast chargers work. When they charge initially, they're very fast, and eventually they cool down to balance the battery out and the thermal temperature inside, everything well. But this phone and this charger really slows things down. It's even a lot slower than dash charging on the OnePlus phones. But anyways, and this was a kind of behavior. That's why I thought I'll take a couple of screenshots and I'll show you how it really slows down. Up to 95% is really quick, maybe under an hour, but afterward it goes really slow, and that's why it takes a lot longer. Okay, so up to 97% at 17:29, eventually 17:35 up to 98%. So in over 10 minutes, it went up to 2%. So again, taking a lot of time. I don't know why it's slowed down so much. It's supposed to slow down, like I said, that's how it's supposed to work in theory, but not slowing down this much. And then 17:44 it was up to 99%, really slow. Anyways, so further down to 49% once again after full charge, and I was able to once again achieve a total screen on time of, after 4 hours and 48 minutes of total use, a total screen on time of 2 hours and 52 minutes at battery down to 49%. Okay, going further down, using my social media bits and bobs, WhatsApp, Insta, Google Plus, typical usage, again screen consuming over 50%, which is very high and it's not supposed to be like that, but anyways, they were consuming a lot of battery life. And also the phone idle time, like I said to you, like I showed you earlier, it consumed nearly 10%, 8% in 10 hours, so it was pretty high. Sorry, 10% in 12 hours, which is pretty high. That's why you can see the phone idle time is also pretty high, along with the phone's standby time. Eventually, after 16 hours and 17 minutes of total usage, I was able to achieve a total of 4 hours and 2 minutes of screen on time. Here also I did use a bit of 4G, as you can see here on the screenshot, guys. On the top right corner you can see the 4G was there as well, so I did use 4G a bit, and that reduced the screen on time from 5 plus to 4 plus. Okay, here again I was testing the standby times at 95% on 10th of April, Monday, 8:16 I left the phone at 95%, and then checked at 14:44, approximately around 6 to 7 hours. You can see the battery went down to 94%, so from 95 to 94. So in about 6 to 7 hours it only lost 1%. Now this is completely opposite to what we saw earlier in the screenshot, where it lost 10% in 12 hours. So a bit funny standby time. Like I said to you earlier, sometimes the standby times are really good, and sometimes the standby times are really average or below average. Okay, so 7:44 again down to 41% here. I think this was me using the battery anyway. Okay, it's going further down, guys, again, so down to 5%, and then eventually Facebook and YouTube, Google Plus, social media, all bits and bobs. So eventually I was able to achieve 3 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time, which was, to be honest, a bit disappointing. I did took a screenshot of the graph and the way I used the phone, even though I did end up using the phone for 1 day and 17 hours, but a lot of standby time was there as well, which obviously didn't help with the screen on times. But as you can see, the phone was in constant use, Wi-Fi, 4G. At times I had no signal because I work in a place where there's no mobile network, so I end up putting the phone in airplane mode. But despite that, I did not expect it to have 3 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time. So battery did vary a lot. So if you're out and about and if your signal is changing from Wi-Fi to 4G or 4G to Wi-Fi, you're putting it in airplane mode and there's a bit of variation in the signal, the battery takes a big hit for some reason. I don't know why. But anyways, this was the stat that I collected. Okay, again here at 74%, 8:22. I think if I remember correctly, I was taking again the standby time. Yes, I was. So 8:22 on Wednesday, 12th of April, I took a screenshot at battery up to 74%, and then when I took a screenshot again in the afternoon, 14:39, and the battery was down to 70%. Now this is completely opposite to what we had just a little while ago, where it only consumed 1%, and here it was consumed, as you can see, it consumed 4% in about 6-7 hours time. So again, a bit of variation in standby times. Okay, again down to 49%, using the phone as normal, voice calls, Bluetooth, everything else. I was able to achieve, after 12 hours and 28 minutes of total use, 2 hours and 28 minutes of screen on time, with battery down to 49%. Once again down to 5%, like I said, airplane mode, because I work in a place where there are no signals, and if you leave the phone like that when it's trying to hunt signals, that's not a fair battery reading, to be honest. That's why I left it in airplane mode instead. Okay, eventually again normal regular use again, and after 22 hours and 9 minutes of total use, I was able to achieve a total of 4 hours and 4 minutes of screen on time. Again, this use was mixed. At times I used 4G and I also used Wi-Fi, so the mixed use got me around 4 hours and 4 minutes of screen on time. Once again, 85% battery, 9:43 on Thursday the 13th of April, and when I checked it again in 16:08 in the afternoon, approximately about 10 hours, I would say, about 9-10 hours, it had lost only 2%. Again, you can see a different variation as opposed to what we had in the previous screenshot. So sometimes it loses more, sometimes it loses less. It's a bit funny. I don't know how it works and why is it doing that. Huawei phones are generally very well known for good standby time. For some reason, it wasn't as good, and it did vary a lot every now and then. Okay, down to 5% again, and after using it for 17 hours and 38 minutes, I was able to achieve a total screen on time of 4 hours and 47 minutes. This was the time I took yesterday. So once again, I was close to 5 hours with mostly Wi-Fi and less of 4G. So the battery life on this phone, from my understanding, from what I've seen so far, is a bit funny. At times it's really good, at times it's average, at times it's below average. Again, supercharging at 4%. This I did yesterday, guys, on the 13th of April. So at 22:46, I put it on charge when the battery was down to 4%. And then at 23:34, the battery went up to 76%. As you can see here, it says supercharging. So 22:46 and 20:34, about 45 minutes time, the battery went from 4% to 76%, which is pretty much in line with what Huawei said. In half an hour you can get up to 50%, and about 45 minutes time you can get up to 75%. This is pretty much spot on. Things only slow down when you get up to 95 or 96%, then it really starts to slow down. As you can see here in the screenshot, at 0013 the battery was up to 97%, and then at 0028, after 10 minutes, the battery had only gone up to 2%. So like I said, things do slow down once you've gone past the 95% mark on the battery. Eventually, once again, 28 and then 38, then it went up to 100%. So this is the only strange thing I've noticed is it charges really quick. In about half an hour to 45 minutes you can get up to 50% or 75%, but once it goes past 95%, things really slow down, and you could be going to from 95 to 100 maybe in about half an hour's time or so, or something like that. So very strange behavior, very slow. I don't know why is it like that though. So anyways, guys, that's the battery life on the Huawei P10 Plus. The conclusion is that on Wi-Fi, if you're purely on Wi-Fi in a stable environment with not much signal loss, you're bound to get close to 5 hours or maybe a bit more than 5 hours of screen on time. With a mixed use, you're looking at around just past 4 hours of screen on time. But on 4G, the battery does take a bit of a hit, and you might not be able to even get to 4 hours of screen on time. I wasn't able to dedicatedly just get you the 4G readings, but I can tell you that at 4G the phone does take a lot of battery life, and you might not be able to even get to 4 hours with even a big huge 3750 milliamp unit. So guys, as compared to, there was a question asked to me earlier. I remember somebody said, can you please compare this with the dash charging? I can tell you already that this is pretty much on par with the dash charging. It only loses to dash charging right at the end when it gone past 95% mark. That's where the dash charging really goes quick, and it finishes off a lot quicker than the supercharge on the Huawei P10 and the P10 Plus. So guys, that's pretty much it. If you like my video, please do give it a thumbs up. Any questions about the phone, anything else, the battery life, please do ask me in the comment section. And like always, please subscribe as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.